Alrighty, I think I'm back. Yeah, always YouTube. All right, so here we are, and we're going to attempt to let some folks over at Instagram tune in as well. Yep, we're back. I tell you, dealing with YouTube is a trip. They give me more challenges. It's the volume, it's the time stamp, it's always something new. It was a good thing I keep my temperament to myself. So I'm going to take off this pair of glasses because I won't need them. I'm going to try to get myself into broadcast mode. Hope everybody's doing well, feeling great. As Deion Sanders says, Coach Prime says, looking good, feeling good, playing good, and doing good. So I'm in that mode today. So here I am. This is probably podcast number 207 or 208. So that means I've been podcasting live for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics for about 4 years now, a little over 4 years. And this has been quite a challenge, uh, a lot of challenges, I should say. I didn't used to be a podcaster before, but I kind of did it off and on. I used to be on Justin TV, Mogulus, Ustream, Livestream, and I did audio podcasts for Spreaker and Podbean and several other accounts. And then people would have me as a guest on their blog talk radio show numerous times. And then I had my own under their network and then had my own on the side. So here I am attempting to just continue to release information to people on the planet. Excuse me, and hope that there's a lot of pollen in the air. We have what these trees call cottonwood trees, and they can get into your sinus cavity and literally have you wreaking havoc. So I'm going to give a title today, and what I'm going to do is talk about what I mean by this title. And the ironic thing was, as I finished my script notes and quoted from different people, one person I quote from is about George Benson, the jazz guitarist, who had a tune related to my topic. And I talk about quotes from Neil Donald Walsh, who his quote is the actual title of a book that was back in, I think, 1995 or 96, way back then, after his Conversations with God books. And then I mentioned Reverend Ike, and I also mentioned Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. And just as I put this like quote, like a summary quote, I was done typing my notes and getting ready to go live, I decide I decide to go live, and for a split second my YouTube channel crossed over to him, and there was a short clip of him talking about the same thing that I was talking about. So it just lets you know how synchronicity works, and it's amazing. So I'm going to plant this thing to go live, and we'll get started. One of the things that we want to be aware of, let me flip my camera around, we want to be aware of is that there's plenty of room for change. That's one of the things. And I need some more light. So excuse me. Let me put more light up for myself, which I should have done earlier. Here we go. Now, brighter. All right. So sometimes we go through a lot of changes, right? Everybody does. And sometimes it seems to be a bit much, especially when we got tons of other things popping across your radio, your TV set, and the more cable channels you have, that can be overwhelming. I mean, who wants 400 cable channels? That means you'd have to sit up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to see all those different channels, especially when they go up into the 200s, 300s, 400s. That's crazy. It's all still the same thing. So we have to begin to find a way to increase our personal vibration or frequency so that we could develop positive change rather than hold on to old negative change. So this is Clear Blue Radiance. I'm the host, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, and right about now, as this is my second attempt to go live. That wasn't bad. Today is May the 1st, 2025. I've been offering spiritual counseling in different forms, as well as psychic readings and so forth, meditation classes and things, and workshops in person or online ever since 1974. So it's been over 45, 50 plus years of presenting information that I feel that could help a greater audience beyond myself. And I often like to use myself as an example. That way, we let you know that I'm transparent. Now, don't hang out all my laundry on the line, but at least people know, okay, Brother Francis is sort of like an average person. He's not higher nor lower, and we are not higher nor lower than him. We all share in the same common experiences, okay? And sometimes we think things are impossible for us to reach. And I always try to find positive statements in words. So when you look at the word impossible, what you actually, hey, there's Stoke Culture, peace, Holly's back. And what you begin to see in the word impossible is an abbreviation. The first two letters, if you put an I with an apostrophe, then an M, and then separate the M from the rest of the word, you'll see I'm possible, which means I am possible. And possible means you are able to possess something. You're able to possess something that will increase you. Okay. I am possible means you, or if we capitalize those first three letters, I am, which is known as the name or expression for God, then we have an experience. Zakaria Suleiman, how you doing? There you go. Now, the the factor or the statement or my topic title is everything without true value is melting. Everything without true value is melting. That means everything that's in your life that is no longer connected to you, that you no longer have, you no longer deem it as a real value in your life, or it could be something old. We go through situations where we lose connections with friends, people who we thought we were close to, and then they just kind of slide out for different reasons. We have certain family members maybe that we don't get along with, and then there's a disconnect. People go through marriages, separations, and divorces. And some people that are in the state of separations may sit in separations a long time, maybe because they're trying to iron out their differences and find a way to come back together. And some people, of course, have the little ones, the little princes and princesses walking around in the house. And is that somehow are those relationships healthy for them, especially if they don't see any bonding between the parents? If they see dad stepping away from obligations, mom stepping away from obligations, often children will feel like they are the problem for or the issue that the parents aren't getting along. And once that little one gets that in their mind, it's hard to get it out. And then they go through life performing life in such a manner based on what they saw at home. So that's a whole nother take to itself. But what I'm trying to put across today is hopefully that people understand we're all not perfect, right? And we're all striving to do better in our lives, every last one of us. That's why if you see a homeless person on the street, you shouldn't say, and I know around me in this area, seen people say this. That person don't want to do anything. Oh, they belong to this group of people, and I see those people, and they don't want to do anything. But we're not in that person's life, so we don't know how they got to that position in their life. And everybody has gotten to the brink at some part in their life where they had low self-esteem, where they relied on drugs, where they relied on alcohol or too much weed, the stronger weed, right? And do that because they got to chill out. They got to chill out. And you'll have people run, which is okay. People get on a flight and go to Peru because they want to experience the ayahuasca experience or ashwagandha experience. Well, that's all good. But what happens when you come back and you don't have any of that stuff in your system but for so long, 24 hours or a little longer? What happens when you don't come back with that and you can't rely and have that experience again? And usually what happens with some people, and this is not everybody, this is, I'll say, a small percentage, they get hooked on it. Why? Because it gives you some hallucinations that you find yourself going through. It takes you down a certain path that you may not be able to climb back up and get out of. Then you might experience sadness, melancholy, depression. Depression, one of my psychotherapy friends from many 20, 30 years ago, she's no longer on the planet. She used to say, depression is anger turned within. So a person is angry about something, and all of a sudden, because no one is listening to them, no one is caring to listen to them, the anger starts to turn back on themselves, and they start sabotaging themselves. And we all have gone through some level of that. Not everybody, but some people have. And I'll say I have, because in my 20s, I was going through things. In my teens, I was going through things. My mother had to take over my fathering position because my father had developed for many years an alcoholic problem. So he and I fell out of sync. And I mean, for me, at a very early age, not even a preteen, I'm going through it. And my mother's trying to hold down the fort, and they had their own business. That wasn't easy for her to be there trying to run a business with my dad, who was getting inebriated halfway through the day, going toward the evening, and then not making it home to the evening. And then coming home, when he does come home, he has to go straight to bed. Why? Because he's laid out drunk. And I get to see that. Then I realized some of my closest friends who I used to hang out with, they had the same exact problem. So then I started to learn, hey, I ain't the only one going through this. I have close friends, peers, grade school, middle school, high school, experiencing the same darn thing. But what happened? I didn't get high, not in high school anyway. When I went to college, I said, well, let me see what this stuff is really about. And once I got into it a little bit, after 3 months, I was like, okay, that's enough. I don't need to be doing this. This is not something that I want to do. I need to step away from it. This is not me. So sometimes you could have some darn good true values working for yourself and destroy them, destroy the value that was good for you due to some other outside situations that got into you internally. So, with this topic, how can we prepare for change if we're not willing to change or we expect others to change? Because sometimes many of you in various relationships, you have that experience, right? Your partner says, you got to change. And you probably are working on changing, but maybe the partner doesn't see it enough for them to believe that you are becoming resilient again, making changes. And sometimes some people are struggling with that. And it's not a mental illness thing, but it has to be a personality thing. And it's also how they may have grown up because they may not have seen or had a role model or an elder to pull them out of those situations and pull them back into being themselves. And as we know, having good self esteem. So these things do pop up, and they are a hellified experience. Because if you're not courageous enough, or if you're not tired enough seeing yourself go up and down and more down than up, then you begin to see yourself in a sea of weakness. You begin to notice that you're unable to swim in that sea because you cannot see your way clear. You don't have anybody to help pull you out. Then there are other situations where people already know I don't have anybody to help pull me out. So I got to slow down the events. I got to find a way to change the cravings. I got to find a way to get mentally strong and emotionally clear, as well as emotionally strong. And when I can get mentally clear and emotionally strong, then I can make some strides and begin to change. But the path to change is never an easy one. Angels don't slide out of the ethers into your life. Ascended masters just don't roll up on you and say, hey, I got change for you, positive change. Or like people say in the occult world, people saying, well, I got a dragon. They didn't know that the dragon comes and chooses them. I'll say that again. People say, I got my dragons, you got my unicorns. Yeah, but they chose you, not the other way around. Dragon, personality sometimes is like a cat. You can't tell the cat what to do. The cat is going to wind up telling you what to do. Feed me. Let me get out of here at night. I'll see you in the morning. The dog, I'm going to go over here, try to mind my business. And later, I want to go for a walk, or I want to play, or I want you to play with me. If it's a good guard dog, it ain't worrying about playing because it's getting stronger every day, every week, every month. And it becomes itself, its genetic self. So some dogs you can't play with. But if you had them since they were puppies, they respond differently. Yeah. So these elements that we have around us, these tools for personal transformation, are there in our lives naturally. We are the ones who can become co creators with the universe around us, the bigger, divine, infinite resources around us. And I've always used to think, is it way out there where the spiritual forces are, or is it like right here? And I've come to the realization they're within an arm's length distance or the height of my body. They're not 3,000 miles away. They're not 30,000 miles away. And they're not 500,000 light years away. They're right here. They're right here. They're right here. We have been taught that our help is way from us and we'll never get to it. And some people make fun of people because they think they can't call into place what their ancestors had. But in essence, once they go through some certain trials and tribulations, they can awaken and find out that they've been carrying their ancestors right here in the memory of their heart. Right here, their ancestors are encircling us and waiting for us to awaken to that fact that they ain't way over there. They're right here. Because the more we talk about them, the more we listen to stories about them, that other people knew them, other people had experiences with them, other people remember the things they've done over time throughout their life, because you have these uh, prominent storylines about them and you could understand it, and then you remember it, then you embody the teachings of your ancestors, and then you start dreaming about your immediate ancestors or 3 or 4 generations back. And then you realize them folks didn't go anywhere. They're in the ethers, but they're crossing my path. They're showing up in my dreams. I just haven't remembered the connection. So I want to say that no one can make you happy. You learn that also. Couples learn it, various partnerships learn it, various alliances learn it, team players learn it. You know, we experience it all the time. I had this experience about a week ago. I had to go to Walgreens. And the people see me come in there quite often. I went and got some, vitamins and things I always have to pick up for myself. And I saw these two people kind of communicating, and one was trying to cheer the other one up. I realized that. And so as I turned the corner, the person who was trying to be cheered up kind of noticed me coming around the corner in the aisle. She's on the other side, the cashier's counter. And I got this evilest look from this younger person that I'm at least 50 years older than. And I mean, it was a piercing, like angry look. And I said, "Excuse me, I don't know you. You don't know me. But what you need to do is change the way that you are. If you don't want to be here today, go upstairs and sit up there in HR and figure it out. Go in the restroom, figure it out. Go sit in your car, figure it out. But don't bring your anger on a client, a customer who doesn't have anything to do with your issue. In other words, stay home, take a sick day or a personal day, and don't be here. That way you don't blow up on the wrong person. These things we see, just like road rage, right? You're driving, minding your own business, and there's somebody driving and they're ticked off about something else that has nothing to do with the 500,000 other drivers out there. And all of a sudden, they see a driver minding their business and they start cutting them off, blocking them off. And then they find themselves having a problem. So, no one can make you happy. You are responsible for your own happiness. If you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling good, there's some things you can do to start feeling good. You can start singing a tune, make up any kind of tune in your head, start singing. Watch some comedy specials on your phone or on your TV set. Things you know that's going to make you laugh, start doing it. But most of all, utilize prayer and meditation, affirmations, decrees, affirmative prayers, and remind yourself of who you are. So no one can make you happy but yourself. You are responsible for that happiness. Often we find ourselves lacking certain tools to move ahead in life for ourselves. And this is why things are breaking down and melting down. How you doing, Barbara? Everything is melting down around us that has no value. So we kind of don't know what to do. What am I to do? Things are falling apart. Political structures are falling apart. Governments are falling apart. We're now looking at it's okay to some people, they rather see a felon in the White House rather than someone of a good nature, smart, and intelligent be there. Someone who treats everybody with respect to be there. But they rather see the exact opposite because maybe that's what they aspire to. Often we have forgotten because we are what? Bombarded by distractions. Now, sometimes, as children, we used to multitask, right? Your parents says, make sure when you come home, you do your homework and don't be watching any TV. And this is if you know your parents ain't there yet, what were you doing? I know I did it. Click that TV set on and I'm doing my homework because I need that extra distraction, but I wanted to watch what was on the TV. But I knew one thing when it hit 5 o'clock, 1 hour later, mom and dad is going to come driving into the driveway. Dad in his radio and TV truck, and mom in the family car. So I better have some homework done because I'll be going to bed at 8:30. I'll be having dinner by 7. So I better get it together. And eventually I learned not to watch TV. My mom said you can listen, you can go into your bedroom and you can listen to a radio. Something that's nice to listen to. But you must finish your homework assignment. And I want to see it done. So you grow up, right, with all of these behavioral patterns, all of these societal teachings, all of these family teachings, rules and regulations. And in the midst of that, you have to recognize that you can be happy, that you can do better, that there can be a better version of you. And that goes along with you dealing with the bullies. They're male and female bullies. A lot of young girls were bullied by other girls. Boys are bullied by other boys. And those children who were the bullies at home, they were being bullied by their parents. So they transferred home anger to the schoolyard, to the classroom. These things are distractions. We all have those moments where a dear friend or family member or work associate needs our help. You're at work trying to get your job done. And here's the coworker. Hey, Joan. Hey, Arlene. Hey, Francis. Hey, George. Can you help me do this? You go over there. Okay, let's see what you're doing. And you're looking like they're already doing it. Why they need your help? Why? Because they recognize you're the workhorse in the office. So if they take a day off, the manager might come in and say, well, I need you to do Mr. So and so's work because they seem to be falling behind and we're working together as a team. And next thing you know, you're the workhorse. You're not even getting paid overtime to help that person as well as do your work. So after a while, there's another distraction. Everyone goes through something that's unpleasant, disturbing, and traumatic, but we all have to move through or learn how to move through it with courage and tenacity. And it's not easy. I use that word tenacity because I think about a tiger. Tiger's got tenacious energy, always on the prowl, always looking for the challenge, always looking for the prey, the meal, and will attack if necessary. And certain other creatures are looking for survival when they recognize they're the target of the lion, the hyenas, the tigers. They have to run like crazy, even from the snakes. They got to make a clear path for their dinner. That's the end of their life. We don't want to live like that. We don't want to live in a way where we're pressured to perform. Now, sometimes you're pressured to get something done and you get in a certain groove mentally and through your heart, and you link the mind and the heart together and you know exactly what you have to do. And then all of a sudden you start streamlining things and your mind is working at a rapid pace, faster than a computer, and your heart is the motherboard. You're going, I got this. I'm in a rhythm. I don't have to take a long break nor a long lunch period, but I'm gonna take the lunch period because I get paid to take lunch. And then you go out and do it. You learn a system, you develop a system, you stick to that system, and you master that system, and it works all the time. That's for everything that you're doing. It's like an athlete. Certain professional athletes, they're trained to run, trained to swim, playing contact sports, especially if they're padded or non-padded. Imagine those people playing rugby. They ain't got no pads on, but they're muscled out so they can take impact. They're trained to take it. But nonetheless, pads or no pads, the body has to be conditioned. And so does the mind and the heart. So here's a question. Are there any habits you would like to stop doing in order to have an experience of spiritual freedom? That could be like something you could work on. Think of just one habit, but maybe it might lead to two habits. These habits no longer serve you. That's the most important thing. You're going to find one or two habits that you want to let go of that no longer serve you. Just like the title, everything without true value is melting, doesn't have foothold or control on you. And when you find out what those habits are that no longer have any value, I want you to keep in mind, because this is very important, keep in mind that your answers to the question of habit changing may change every few days or few weeks. What that basically means, or what I mean by that, hey there, Topeka, my spiritual daughter, how you doing? What you might find is that you start to filter through. It's just like house cleaning, spring cleaning, right? Yard work, and you find some things that you got there that you should have gotten rid of a long time ago. You go into the attic or the basement of your house, and you find some things that you've been holding on for too long. Why? Because you have some type of emotional connection to it. And like I said, everybody goes through it. I'm transparent. I got stuff in my apartment here. I'm going through today and tomorrow, and it's getting out of here. I had to go through some emotional things, some emotional connections, some memories, and realize, hey, I've been living here 7 years now. And some of this stuff I brought here from another location I lived in for a year. And then before that, in another location I lived in for 5 years. And then before that, before I got into the state, I had them same things maybe 10 years. So you imagine 10 and 5 is 15. 15 and 1 is 16. And 23 years. I got certain things in here that have been traveling around from place to place. And I keep saying, I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to throw it out, or I'm going to go through it. Well, today, if I haven't touched it in a year, it's out. It's gone. It's history. Why? Because when you move things around, you create space. You feel the magnetism switch up around you. The electromagnetic frequency in your house changes. You feel a cool breeze. You take something out of a corner that's been sitting in a corner for a long time, holding down energy. And the minute you get it out of there, you can feel a breeze pass through. That means that object or objects should not have been sitting there that long. Do like our elders used to do, change things around. When they did that, because they had to in some regions and locations in the world, they were able to shift the energy around them and move it, and then find ways to bring that new energy that they felt into their life and let it work for them. So that's one thing to think of. Think of one or two habits that you've been thinking about getting rid of. This is not like a New Year's resolution. This is more like, I know I got this habit and I know I need to stop it. So I want you to write down what the habit is. And you can make it very clear to yourself. Have a pencil and eraser and just make sure it's absolutely clear that you're getting rid of this particular habit. Then, what I want you to do is once you know that you're letting it go and you're releasing it out of your mind and your heart, I want you to walk around for the next couple of days or weeks feeling better that you released that habit, old habit that lost its true value to you, and you start incorporating something new that's more beneficial for you. And if you live with others, it's going to be beneficial to them as well. Why? Because you're not doing that old stuff anymore. You're doing something new that benefits you, that makes you feel better, that guess what? Boosts your happiness, brings you into a state of gratitude, boosts your happiness. And then all of a sudden you say, that wasn't too bad. That little thing, that was a big speck in my eye. I needed to get rid of it. Now that I've done that, man, I made some room inside myself. I'm freer here and I'm freer in the heart. And when you feel that energy around the heart chakra get freed, your heart chakra is like your true rainbow bridge between the physical world and the solar plexus and down in the higher ranges, going into your throat and brow and crown centers. And you're just free. This is a way to gain a pathway for your spiritual freedom. Because spiritual freedom is eternity and it's light. And it's who you are, it's who you're expressing all the time. You're a metaphysical person. That means you're living in this world, but you don't belong to it. You live meta, beyond. Now, this is not the same kind of meta with Facebook, because that one's designed to entrap you and just keep you functioning from not being the real you. Thought I'd throw that in there. If you were afforded one question, here's another project. If you were afforded just one question with a 3-word answer. Now, these one questions with a 3-word answer, if you're on Facebook or other posts, you've seen them before. It'll show a short sentence that says, look at the clustered of letters, uh, like a puzzle. And when you find the words that catch your eye, find the first 3 words that pops up. You're looking at letters all jumbled in a square or a rectangle, but they're letters. And if you don't stare into the square or rectangle, the words begin to rise up and pop out. You might see empowerment. You might see grace. You might see beauty. You might see happiness. You might see joy. You might see prosperity, abundance, compassion. And these are traits or things that speak out to you actually from inside of you, because you'll see it at that moment that you are living or about to put into motion. And it's a good exercise. Because sometimes when you find 3, you'll find the 4th one and the 5th one. And this until next thing you know, you don't found over a dozen words that are your transformative powers to create change in your life. And it's also letting you know what you're about to attract into your life because it's already here. Just the jumbling up of letters assisted you in drawing it out so that you could see it, so that you could acknowledge it. So that's something to keep in mind. That's like a fun exercise. You can name, or you can do this for yourself. You can name three things that help you become a better you, a better version of yourself. That three words that lead you toward a happier you. And you can comprise these words and things in a variety of ways. Let's say you want to make more income. So you would put everything in there that says from investments to investing in real estate or real estate property or buying real estate or being a entrepreneur or being a life coach in that entrepreneur, being an owner of a business. You just go on, owner of a restaurant, a chef. You put all these things in there. And then you separate the letters, but they're there so you can read them up and down, backwards and forwards. They're there. Diagonally, they're there. But you then put all these other letters around them until those letters cannot really be seen anymore. But you can do it. And what you want to learn from this, if you are writing the three words that's going to help you feel better about yourself, that's going to help you to change for the better for yourself, to be at a height where you're doing the highest good of all for you. Because again, like if you're living in a family unit and you're doing this, whatever good that you're bringing to yourself, you're going to uplift them as well. Whatever goodness you are bringing to yourself, you're going to uplift everybody else. That's what you have to keep in mind. So you become a natural home based influencer because you're doing something that's very, very positive, that's changing your life, and it's also changing the lives of those who are closest to you. Why? Because they can see the change. Imagine a son or daughter coming to you and say, Mommy, you look different. Mommy, you look fabulous. Mommy, you look great. You going out on a date? You and daddy going out on a date? Or you going out with your girlfriends? And mommy turns around, yeah, and grandma's coming over. Yay for grandma. Auntie's coming over. Yay for auntie. Uncle's coming over. Yay for the uncle. You're all gonna do something, and they're gonna make sure you do your work, your chores, and you're all gonna have fun together. And mommy's gonna go out and have a break. Mommy and daddy are going to go out and enjoy themselves. It's all about change. What are you seeking? What do you want to do so that you have a better opportunity, so that your path is broadened for yourself? Sometimes you might feel chilled. I hang out with the young ones. I feel chill. Makes me feel young again. I like to help them. I like to watch them grow, how they think, what they love to do. Help them have greater balance in their life. Or if you're going to be a person that stays home a lot like me, you're going to find something to watch that's what? Soothing, that stimulates your mind. You're going to watch something that's going to make you laugh until your side aches. And I watch different things. I'll find a cooking show. I'm not a cook, but I like to watch those contests where people got to cook. You know what, for Gordon Ramsay and things like that. It's kind of cool to watch how they're preparing foods under pressure, but they're good. Even the kids, the young ones, that's the ones that get it. Watch those young ones that are 8 and 9 years of age preparing meals like a chef. But we got to do something to change this because this is the thing that's being bombarded every day. Radio, TV, internet, especially when the cell phones. That guy, Walter Sampson, invented the cell phone. I believe that's his name. It was just basic, being able to call wirelessly, right? And then people through the companies, Motorola, all of them, they started upgrading, right? And then new companies came on board. But what started to happen? Rather than just talk on your phone, now you can text on your phone. You can text back and forth. The person would get the text. And then after that, you can take pictures with your phone. And then some videos, short video clips with your phone. And then next day, now you're online, wirelessly online, surfing the internet, reading the news. We didn't have that before. Can you imagine? Let me take you back in mind to the 1960s. If you worked in a corporation, they had those big reel to reel tapes. That's was computer language and data, right? For radio and TV, electronic places, products being sold on a big level. You had the telex, that thing that print out the piece of paper with a message on it. That was way back what in the 20s, telexes. Had those in, investment places, for stocks and bonds and interest and all those things. How about when TV was just black and white? And you remember that? When TV would go off, it would go off across the nation. Every channel. WPIX, W whatever, WORTV in New York City, that was channel 9. WPIX, that was channel 11. Then you had those extra channels like 13 public stations that were there. You had 13, you had 14, you had 15, 16. Most of them didn't work, but you got up all of a sudden to public TV, which is also another one, channel 21. So you had 12, 13, past 11, you got 13, and then you had 21. Then you had a few more stations that took you some places you didn't even want to listen to because you didn't know what it was about anyway. But TV would go off when? There was a countdown. And you see the screen counting down with they used to put a indigenous head afterwards, but it's off the air. At 12 a.m., nobody was watching TV until 6 a.m. That same little thing spinning around, head come through, and now all the stations are back online. So we didn't get bombarded from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Everybody was sound asleep, or you were working late at night somewhere in a factory, or you were driving an oil tank truck. You didn't get hit. Only thing that you could listen to was the radio, because radio stations had talk shows around the clock, 24 hours. They had disc jockeys playing music 24 hours, and they were reading public service announcements and doing commercials. Those are the only thing that you would be hearing all the time. So, this topic is everything without true value is melting, meaning it's melting off of you, it's melting around you. The word here I want you to get is because it says, keep in mind, those words might change from week to week. I use the word change twice, and that's a key word. So, there was a jazz guitarist. He's still around. He's probably up there in his 70s because he's a few years older than me. He's just out there playing jazz. He could be in his early 80s by now. That was a great jazz guitarist by the name of George Benson. He had a really nice tune, something on Broadway, something like that. But he wrote a tune that used a phrase like this: everything must change, nothing remains the same. If you look up that phrase and connect it to him, you will hear the whole tune. He's playing it with his guitar, with a band or orchestra behind him. But that's the most important part. Everything must change, nothing remains the same. So here's some metaphysical teachers. I should have gotten something from Neville Goddard, but I didn't look it up, so it didn't come to mind. Neil Donald Walsh. He's the guy that wrote the book Conversations with God. He wanted to know, could he connect with God and God give him pertinent answers to his questions, and he began to receive them. He began to receive them, and he had the presence of mind to write what he was getting. And this was a man that fell into hard times. I think he's up in Portland, Oregon, or the state of Washington. But he was having hard times, and he became homeless. And he was asking himself this question: why is this happening to me now? Because he was actually a business guy. But why was this happening to him? And he began to pray, he began to meditate, he began to study, and he start hearing the correct answers coming through. Well, you know, another person you've all probably heard of, Dr. Joe Vitale. He's a guy with uh, kind of meaning like my height, thinning hair. He was a guy that was once homeless for many years and somehow fell into the rhythm of meditation and prayer. So he had to read something. And eventually, he got back on track. Now, you'd never know the man was homeless. Go into his library, he's got hundreds of books, 200 books maybe, teaching you the ins and outs of improving yourself, like Neil Donald Walsh. So, Neil Donald Walsh's book was, and it was written back in the 1990s, I believe around 94, 95, or 1996. And the book is entitled When Everything Changes. That's the first part of the title. When everything changes, comma, change everything. And this was based on the fact that the soldiers were having the wars with Iraq and Iran, and soldiers were going through great difficulties, and governments couldn't decide what to do, for or against. And he saw these changes coming up. People, especially here in US, how are we going to get through this change? Why? Because when the Iran and Iraq war was being televised, that was the thing that was changing the mindset of people. Can you imagine waking up in the middle of the night, turn on the news, and now you're seeing a war live and in living color with a 3 second delay? You're seeing explosions. That's horrifying. That's traumatic. And that stays with you for a long time. The memory may fade, but the body experienced the vibrations of war. So that's how he started to write this book. There is Jackie Fillmore, Antoine. Divine blessings to all. So we begin to see this change and know something's got to shift. And we start to question ourselves, how are we going to shift? What do we need to do to shift? We have to invent some ways to shift. Then we got to stick to the plan. We can't let ourselves respond willy nilly just to anything that we see. Because now what we're beginning to understand with artificial intelligence things popping up all the time that are actually been here for ages, long before they were put in the mainstream, but they've been here before. Artificial intelligence, because the military uses it. The military intelligence agencies use artificial intelligence. These things are designed to distract you. Not a lot of it is going to make you happy. Not a lot of the things that you find yourself going through are going to make you happy. A lot of that stuff is designed to do what? Distract you. Yeah, you might make a couple of $100,000 a year, but you're going to notice after a while there are some distractions that were embedded in your mindset and heart set on a completely different level. You're going to notice you forgot certain things that you enjoyed doing that were of value, and you don't know how to get them back. You're going to find out that you went off on somebody, it was an excellent friend, an excellent mentor, or you mentored them, and you hurt their feelings. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can take and scores through every book I've written, every book that my buddy Lloyd Strayhorn has written, every book that Reverend Michael Beckwith has written, every book that Reverend Ike has written, every book that Neil Donald Walsh has have written, and comprise it down into a text, word for word, and add a few other words to it, and it looked like it pulled it out of the ethers. Artificial intelligence. Things change. The late Reverend Ike used to say, you have to first decide in order to be, do, and have. Let me repeat that. The late Reverend Ike, who passed the scene in 2009, 1 month after or before or after Michael Jackson did, he would say, you have to first decide, meaning decide on what you want to accomplish with yourself in order for you to be in the mix, to be present doing it, to do it, and to actually have it, to own it. And he said that about everything, from a brand new car to a brand new home. And he would say, think big, stop thinking small. Every time you think small, you don't get what you want. You get something smaller. So think big and you get something bigger. That what? Matches your vibration, matches what you're feeling inside. Currently, who's on the planet, who's been doing his work for over 40 years, who I consider to be a master meditation teacher, who works with the principles of New Thought with the Science of Mind community, which is now called the Center for Spiritual Living, under the teachings of Ernest Holmes. And if you heard of the late Louise Hay, she's a part of that. She became a practitioner in that. Florence Shin was one. And so many, many teachers that impacted us with good information. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith has said, I'm paraphrasing right now, and then I'm going to give you an exact quote. He says, I'm saying about him, throughout his many teachings, this is Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, he presents the idea of changing your habits from what you are accustomed to being, accustomed to doing, and accustomed to having. In other words, these habits that have no more value, that can't do diddly squat for us, and we're still holding on to them because we have this personal ego that wants to feel separated from the entangled universe. Because we live in an entanglement. And once we realize that, that's why you can pull information. That's like the World Wide Web, an entanglement, going all over, pulling in information. And now you can get information just like that on your laptop, on your phone, on your computer, on your desktop, notebook, Kindle book, right? So he says, habits from what you are accustomed to being, doing, and having, to changing your outlook and stretch your mindset and heart set. Mind and heart, the set means what's in there that's running your thoughts, what's in there that's running your feelings. The heart truly knows what you are to do, what you are to be, and what you are to have, because the heart is connected to what? Your higher self, which is the reflection of the divine source of God in all of us. So the heart does truly know what you're here to do, what you're about to do, what your deepest rooted desires are. This is important to realize. Hey there, R764. Nice to see you. You're on Instagram, tuning in. So, when I had finished my notes for today, and I had to go back and type this in, he has a lot of video clips. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. He has a lot of video clips that you'll see on Instagram, on his Instagram page, in the Reels section. You'll see them on YouTube. You'll see them on not Netflix, but a lot of them on his YouTube channel and on his website. And this is what he said. And I had to laugh to myself. He says, when you lift up your vibration, everything begins to do what? Change and fall away from you. That means, and what he was saying was, when that happens, you don't understand that you're raising your frequency, raising your vibration of who you are to get to the real you, the higher self, expressing who you should be. And then you see these parts of yourself layer by layer, chunk by chunk, just fall off of you. And then because you see them fall off of you, you feel them fall off of you, he says, you think you're going backwards. He says, no, you're not. You're just standing still and releasing, letting that stuff fall away, far, far away, so that you have the freedom to move into who you truly are. So I put a laugh statement. I just completed my outline of highlights for today's podcast, and then I saw that video clip. So I know it's a confirmation, and that happens to me a lot. The last couple of weeks, I'll write about something, or I'll write something in my journal, and then he'll send me, because he sends me every morning, usually without fail, he sends me intentional prayers. And sometimes, because I'm studying his work now directly with him and this entire Agape International Spiritual Center, he often takes the words that I use and shows me how he links them together into one intentional prayer. Because what he's teaching people to do is what all these other metaphysical people to do is create your life on purpose. And as he teaches, your mind is constantly just like your heart is constantly pumping blood. And your heart, when I wrote my book Radiant Heart, I did some research. And what did I find out? I found out that the heart, the body I already knew was electromagnetic frequency, but the heart is electromagnetic generator transformer. And your chakras and your meridians running throughout your body are the antennas and the receptors. And your heart resonates and vibrates out 0.17 volts of electricity. So that's why when a person has a heart attack and an ambulance is called and they got them two magnetic plates, and what do? They don't put them here. They don't put them here. They put them on the chest, right? One on each side of the heart. And they go, okay, juice it. Brr, boom. Why? They're jump starting the heart if it stopped. They're jump starting the heart because it stopped. That electrical flow that we're giving off, minute volts, just right for the human form. And that's why a person can see your aura. That's why a person can look at you through your aura and can tell if you're about to pass off the planet, or you're going to remain on the planet, or you're going higher on the planet, or you're going lower on the planet, or you're just standing still. They can see it with no problem. So here's what I put together. We have to begin to reevaluate who we are. You have to know who you truly are. And then you have to start living the mind and heart of the very truth of who you are. Reverend Michael Beckwith calls it mindset and heart set. You got to set the mind. In other words, you got to reset it back. You know, like when you have problems on your laptop, right? Or your desktop, and it gets cluttered. The C drive, the hard drive gets cluttered, right? So you got to go what? And defrag it, as they say. So the computer can find all these shorter files and reconnect these files and put them together so you have what? More space on your hard drive. But there comes a point that sometimes you might have to close everything out. So you got to make a list, like, and then close or back up and then close it down. And you get a chance to do what? Reboot it back to factory reset, meaning before you put all that stuff on there. Now, what's going to happen is the computer's going to go through the hard drive and it's going to pretend like those 200 files ain't in there, like it went into its own subconscious mind. It don't know it's there, but it's there. Or you'll set it to what? Restore, which means you'll go back to a certain date before you had the problem. So what happens? The computer is reading the data and it takes you back maybe 2 weeks ago before you start having a problem, and it resets it back to 2 weeks ago. But then what it does is it doesn't read anything you've done thereafter, leading up to the point when it almost crashed. That's what we're doing. We're sifting through all these dead thoughts in our mind, all these no good emotions that we're holding on to, that we need to get rid of, that is causing us to fall back and rely on our little old me, I am, me, myself, and I ego to say, I am separated from all this stuff. I'm separated from all this spiritual and metaphysical and divine stuff. I'm going to separate from you too. Why? Because I don't want to go through this over and over again. I like it when there's no advancement. I like it seeing the same thing. That's the personal ego. But eventually, if you walk into your prayer time, your meditation time on a regular basis, and do your best not to skip, but don't worry about it if you do, but you just fall back and sink, eventually what happens? The ego starts looking in. What's going on? Because it sees this light flashing, sees your heart flashing a bigger light than your whole head. And I got a big head and a big body, so your ego says, "What is that?" And your higher self looks down and says, "It is me, and I know who you are. Come and join me." And the higher self is pulling in the ego that's reluctant. But the higher self points out the positive entanglements between the brain and the heart, between all the meridians in the body and the heart and the brain. And then it pulls in all the other positive entanglements where there were good experiences to be found. And once those good experiences are found and shown to the personal ego, wow, how did I forget? And at that time, the higher self pulls out the shepherd's staff and hooks the little I am back into place so that there's no more what? Distractions, no more difficulties, but one is released onto the path where they're liberated to enjoy a path of spiritual freedom, which is getting back to the true self. So this is good to know. When we are capable of doing these things, all I'm saying is reminding you to expand your awareness. What are you aware of? We know we're aware of the nonsense we see on TV. Sometimes it's good nonsense, all that political stuff you need to know, but sometimes you don't need to know all of that. All you need to know is who are you? Because if you get back to knowing who you are, that becomes one of those what? Values that begin to melt away, because that's not the true you. So you begin to expand your awareness into what is happening now, and you begin to do what? Make changes so that you accomplish things now. Expand our remembrances to claim our truth and then to live it. Everybody that's on the YouTube channel for Resonant Essentials, let's see, we got 7 or 8 people here. Do me a favor, if you have not clicked the like button with the thumbs up, please do so now. Kind of helps us know how many people are liking not only what I'm doing on here, but what other people are doing on here when they come, such as Michelle Vidal or the Albuquerque Astrology Group that comes on here. Monica Garul, I think her name is, and the head and the founder is Joanna Rader, and they're excellent astrologers. So sometimes they come on here and they talk about a lot of astrological configurations, the sign that the moon is in, where Mars is, all this stuff. So we want to get those likes pumped in there. And of course, on my I am Circle Grace One Instagram, you can always leave me a good note, whether you liked it or not. If you didn't like it, tell me anyway. That's being honest. Okay. But here's something else. We might want to listen to positive, uplifting music. Do that which makes us happy. Because remember, no one can make you happy but yourself. Change our routines around and add something new, and so much more. You might go for a walk, you might join a gym, or you just might get out there and exercise more. Those things will help you. The more you do, the better. Uh, okay. All right. Let me put it in here. All right. Now, one of the things is my in law brother, Z Man. Anything you want to acknowledge is that you have always this opportunity to rise to the occasion. You always have this opportunity to rise to the occasion for yourself. In order to have a positive change, you have to know what the change is. Many of the metaphysical teachers say what you'd like to do is find a way to ask the proper question. Because if you can ask the proper question, you will realize the answer is sitting in the question that you are asking. And sometimes you may not know if you're asking the proper question. Then you can do something like use a pendulum, and that'll get you to square it down into the right thing because the pendulum is connected to the vibration of your higher self. And then you'll know if you're asking the right question or how to rephrase the question, then you get the right answer. So here's something else you want to do. You have to recognize now that everything without true value is truly melting because it no longer fits your purpose. It no longer fits your direction. It no longer fits in the truth of the real you. Everything must change and will change. And here's something else you want to realize. If you want to move into that source, that divine source element of your higher self, you have to change so that you can recognize your higher self. So the higher self is not far away either. The higher self is in you. You're inside the higher self. The higher self is infinite. It's like in the biblical structure, the higher self comes from here and the upper regions, which is the heart. And the higher self is in the upper room, which means it's up there getting what? Higher consciousness. And it's what? Bringing it down and executing the higher consciousness into the earth plane like it's supposed to. We've heard that phrase. That person's a space cadet. Why? Because the mind is so far out, they're unconscious, unaware of what's going on right in front of them, which can be very spiritual for them to experience. So, this is essential. When you change the way you think, change the way you feel for the better, so that you're harmonizing with the divine processes and elements of yourself, then your vibration picks up. You get a little lighter on your feet. You might feel a little dizzy, a little tired, a little extra hungry, or not hungry at all. You might feel a little agitated, but you're not really agitated. You just realize you're letting go of something. And if you pay attention to that which you're letting go of, you'll start to see what you're supposed to embrace. Because the more you can embrace your divinity, the more you will experience the internal peaceful warrior, the more you will experience the true healer in yourself. You might even remember, okay, I'm a wounded healer, but your wound's going to heal, and you come back to being your true self, the healer. You might come back and do the greatest phenomenal artwork that no one has ever seen, compose music that no one has ever heard, create poetry that no one has ever heard that becomes healing. And notice you're doing it because you realize your entanglement that you got with collective humanity is beginning to what? Be heard. The entanglement is like the internet, the World Wide Web. You can see everything, you can feel everything, you can know everything, you can sense everything without seeing it, without always hearing it, without always having to touch it, without always having to feel it, smell it, taste it. Because if something is highly vibrational, I'll tell you something, the saliva on your tongue will switch. It'll taste sweet in your mouth. You'll be smelling some sweet aromas and know that there is no perfume in your house. No incense, no rose, no jasmine, no lavender incense, no sage, but you can smell it. Smelling into the ethers. This is some of your true abilities that you possess. Be able to stay seated in your chair and let your mind travel 3,000 miles. Know that you're in your chair and know that you're having a willingful life experience. This is one of the great things that you become more aware and that you remember who you truly are. So here's a meditation assignment. I want you to envision yourself releasing an old habit and beginning a new one. Releasing an old habit and beginning a new one. Now, the thing you want to do is you can exercise that several times in one day only. Seeing yourself release an old value that no longer serves you, that melts away, and you choose a new habit, a new thinking, a new feeling. And when you choose this new thinking and this new feeling, what begins to happen is that you are then preparing yourself for the very next day. And when the very next day comes, you're no longer thinking about the old habit because you've exercised your own old habits away from yourself. You bid them goodbye. And the only thing you're going to envision inside your circuitry, the mind and the heart, is going to radiate out on higher frequencies, the new habit, the new one. And you're going to do that every day for 21 days first. And I guarantee by the time you get to that 21st day, or maybe a little before that, you're going to notice there's some kind of shift going on because people are going to look at you and go, hey, you look different. What did you do with your hair? What did you do with your makeup? Some new shoes you got on. Oh, I like that denim outfit you're wearing, bro. I like that cap. And ain't that? It's to change internally where your whole complexion has changed. Your whole body has changed. The way you thought has changed. The way you talk, the way you walk. You might be a more informative listener now than you were 344 days ago. But you're different because you're paying attention that these old things that no longer serve you are melting away and they will stay away. They're not coming back. So consider after that first day, releasing some habits out of your system. You can write them down on paper. Now you can burn the paper if you want, but you're not going to do those old habits. You're only going to do the new habits. And when you do the new habits, everything will change. So will you. You'll respond differently. You know, when I started doing some of these practices 20 years ago, and I've been on the path for 50 years with meditation, 51 years with meditation. When I started incorporating some of these things and maintaining a journal, I noticed I responded different. People are used to wig me out with their personalities, trying to, play a bully game with me because they think we're in high school still. I could put out the thought so strong in meditation that I don't even see those people cross my path. If I see them, they're across the street. And if they're waving, I'm ignoring. Why? Because we're not on the same frequency anymore. And they'll come across the street and say, hey, didn't you see me waving you? No, I got my mind on something. Oh, okay. Are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. They said, we don't talk like we used to. I said, why? What are we going to talk about? I don't think that way anymore. And I'm happy with me. So then what begins to happen is you are what? Shifting gears, stepping up the gas, stepping up the frequency, and that old stuff is sliding away from you. You can't keep up with you anyway. You're the new you. You're stepping into some new shoes. The new shoes, the new pathway for immortality for yourself. Like my mentor, I'm going to call him, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith says, why try to become an ascended master when you can take all of this brand new wisdom, brand new knowledge, brand new thoughts of compassion and kindness and being encircled by divine grace? Things become easier and become a descended master, meaning that you're bringing the frequency, higher frequency, down into your body, into your brain, into your chakras, into your heart specifically, heart chakra, and you start radiating. You start feeling you got to move your hands. I used to think, why would I do that? Watching him do it, feel good watching him do it. So I'm gonna do that too. Guess what? I feel better. I know then I'm manifesting. I'm preparing the body for what I'm saying. I'm preparing the body beyond belief, what I'm trusting. I'm preparing my body to carry the vibration of trust, willingness, and faith, unconditional love, ease, divine grace, harmony, prosperity, abundance, and everything else that has a true value that cannot melt away because it is truth. It is omnipresent, potent, and truth. So you want to be able to do something that brings clarity, that empowers you, that moves you to greater heights. You want to move into something that brings peace, that allows you to be peace. The late Dr. Wayne, Dwayne Dyer, Wayne Dyer, he lived as an orphan, changed his life and became this positive person. And he took a prayer, St. Francis of Assisi, and it said in there in so many words, make me your peacemaker. Turn me into peace. Turn me into love. Teach me how to be at peace. Teach me how to be in love. That's what it said. The prayer said in so many words. Can you imagine restructuring the way that you think? Realigning yourself to something more powerful than you that is healthy and good for you. Can you imagine doing such? Can you imagine becoming that on a higher awareness, a higher principle, a higher mountain? And you're the mountain, and you're looking down where you can disperse the seeds and watch them blossom. Do this for 40 days. The first 19 days is where the shift actually takes place. The first 19 days. And then when you get to the 20th first day, the old habit is nowhere near you, and the new habits are upon you. And then the remainder of those days, which is 19 days to go, they get locked into you correctly. And then you begin to identify with the I am presence, that lives in you, that's always been there, is just waiting for you to acknowledge it so it can come through you and experience life through you because you're this gateway. You just want to remember your truth. Who are you really? You're not flesh, teeth, nails, hair on your head, all over your body. You're not that. You're not your bones. But because of your high frequency consciousness over hundreds and thousands of billions of years, was able to create a body on the spot and you just stepped into it as your higher self. But that's who you truly are. You are this transformational, self empowering, self realized master called your higher self, walking around on the earth. So try that exercise for 40 days. Sit down on the first day and think of one, two, or three habits you don't need anymore. And then cross them out, do what you need to do, throw them in the trash, and now write about the things you do desire, that you know that you can be in this present moment. And then that next day, from day two all the way up to day 21, all you're going to do is practice, speak, sleep, eat, and be that habit, that new you. And when you become that, and you do more of that, then them last 19 days, tag, you're it. You don't even remember the old you. You can't. And what that helps you to do is create a new paradigm shift inside this 3D world. And once enough people do it, there'll be a dynamite breakthrough of positivity. That means all the negative activity on the planet will get confused and will also melt away. Only goodness and high vibrational, intentional, unconditional love will win. Divine grace will encircle you and cause ease to enter your life and stay there. Abundance and prosperity shall be you because you think it and it shall become you. A better health, a more perfect you will fall into place. No more aches and pains, no more scars, no more bruises. Every crooked way will be straightened out. No more cloudy days, just sunshine. And if it should rain, it's the most peaceful rain, the most melodic rain you've ever heard. Just puts you to sleep so you can dream more and dream bigger. Well, thanks for watching live or watching later on a replay. Some people who are not here, such as Melanie Hall from across the waters in Australia, she'll probably tune in a few hours later. In fact, as I understand, their hours are ahead of us by about 12 to 16 hours. So it's already Thursday. It's already Friday. So when it becomes Saturday, she'll see it. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you, everybody that's over here that joined in. I'm on my way out. I've been on for about an hour and a half. It's time for me to go. Time for me to take my vitamins and chill out and write out some new courses. But if you would like to find out more information about Resonant Essentials, which is now nonprofit called Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics, right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, located at 2703 Broadbent Parkway, Northeast Suite J, in the Broadbent Industrial Park area here in Albuquerque. Then just go to the website. The website is www.resonantessentials.com. And when you go to that website, it will automatically show you a calendar. And you see all the calendar of events. I'm there every Saturday morning from about 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. for $10, giving a meditation circle called Creative Pathwork Meditations. Teach you how to meditate for yourself. teach you how to set up your own guided meditations for yourself. We do it a group format, anywhere from 1 up to 20. I can teach more than that. I love it. If you're in this area in Albuquerque, come on down and experience. There are many of events that are going on there. A lot of paid events happening. So if you live here in Albuquerque or surrounding areas like Los Ranchos, where I'm at, still Albuquerque. If you're out in the east side, the South Valley, I'm in the north, the East Heights, the West Heights, Albuquerque, and you got something important you want to do, come on down. Usually we have a psychic fair every second Sunday, but in this month, the 11th, will be Mother's Day. So we will hold a psychic fair on the 18th. On Sunday the 18th, and I think we're going to be in there a lot earlier. We might be in there from 10 a.m. to 5. Normally they're from 12 to 5. But we have a lot of people coming in early, want to get early readings. So now we're going to switch it from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is absolutely free, but reading prices vary, and so you have to be aware of that. So, in other words, come with a debit card, credit card, and some cash. There's a lot of people go to more than one person to get information from, and I'll be there. Numerology, mini readings, Angel of Grace, mini readings. Mine is usually $30 for 20 minutes, either one. Then I do these spiritual drawings when I had to raise the price, so now they're $60, and now they had to go from 40 to 60 because it's a lot of work to do these drawings, and the information is really being dropped on me to put into a colored pencil drawing, and the person gets a reading at the same time. So that's why I had to go up on price. But anyway, come on out, come on out, come on out. And also, you go to the website, you'll see businesses connected. You'll see Rebel Organization with Bayland, Baylor Portsline, and you see myself, Circle of Grace One, which is my spiritual ministry for meditation classes and so forth. There's Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Now, if you want to find out what I'm doing, go to www.circleofgrace with the number one at the end .us which way over here / so it doesn't bounce all over, and you can go in there and click on different links and you can see what I'm doing. If a lot of you missed the Radiant Heart course that I taught last year, and then I'm in the midst of teaching right now, getting down to the end, a 13-week online course, then what you need to do is, if you want to experience it, you never had it before, and you want to do it, jump on it right away, because it starts again on June the 3rd. On Tuesday, I believe, June the 3rd, 2025, it starts again. So there's some banners in there, and you need to email me so I can show you different ways to pay for this course. Also, starting on July the 2nd for 8 weeks, a brand new course, a brand new course. And part of it holds the podcast. It's called Clear Blue Radiance is the Light Within. And that's a new 8-week specialized workshops turn into classes, teaching classes. And you're going to get some very potent spiritual information that you can put into motion right now. That's going on for 8 weeks, starting July the 2nd. And then October the 1st, for 6 weeks, I'm going to be teaching my book, Decree and It Shall Be, for 6 weeks online. October the 1st through November the 5th. So you can find all of that on my website, www.circleofgrace1.us, or simply email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. And I'll send you all the information that you need about those 3 online courses. Well, I want you to take care of yourself, do the things you need to do for yourself, feel better, make yourself happy. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Make yourself happy. Do the things that make you feel good about yourself. Well, everybody on Instagram and over here on YouTube, I'm getting ready to sign out. But I will say, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. And also use that email address, iam.circleofgrace1, if you just want to ask me some questions. I'll answer them for you. All right, everybody. Take care yourself. Let me say goodbye to Zachariah Suleiman. Thank you. Deepika Bahorit 4. That's one of my spiritual daughters. Thank you. R. Severin 64. Thank you. Zeman Photos 63. Thank you. And Aura Ali joined in here. Thank you. See you all next week. I'll try to be back on at 1 or 1:30 p.m. on Thursday of next month, which will be May the 8th. Take care and have a pleasant rest of your day. All right, everybody over here on good old YouTube. Thank you, Rose Jefferson. Stoke Culture, thank you. Holly Hemmett, thank you. Barbara Ewing, thank you. Jackie Fillmore, Antoine, thank you. Uh, Corey Searles, excuse me, Indigo Moon was here. Thank you very much. Thank you for people who will listen later, such as Golden Timeline 711 and Melanie Hall. Thank you for watching and attending. Indigo Moods, crack it up. Ha ha ha. She caught that. Well, what I'll do when I'm at the psychic fair, if I'm in there that early, I'll take some pictures. That means I got to go to bed early the night before so I can be up and catch my ride and get in there. I'll probably have my table set up the day before. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for everybody that's joined the online courses that I teach. I really appreciate it. And feel free to tell family members or friends that you know that, hey, I want to learn what you're learning. Tell them your teacher got the information. I love you all for supporting me wherever you see me at. I really appreciate it. Um, it helps keep me in the presence of humility and joy and happiness, not just prosperity and abundance, but compassion. And I love to dance with divine grace. And I hope you do too. All right, everybody. Take care. See you soon. Text me if you want. If you got my phone number, text. Sometimes if I put the phone number here, whoever the stalkers are with the wildness will text me crazy things. So all you all know it. And of course, you know my email too. All right. Take care of yourself. See you next time.